Guys, today we're going to take a look at siphoning liquids. Now that could be your water source and you need to take water out of a 50-gallon drum and you need to put it in something else. There's no way really to get to it. Or it may be gasoline and you need to transfer that gasoline to a different object, to a different can. Or maybe you're just trying to empty out your lawnmower for the season, or your generator, which is a pretty big deal because gas is going to be a commodity, but so is water, and it may be some other liquid. And you may have a hose laying around that you can do that with. Of course, one of the traditional ways to siphon gas is to take and to suck on one end of your tube to draw the gas, and then right before it gets there, you put your thumb over it. And most of the time, you end up getting gas in your mouth, and that's not really a good way to do it. So we're gonna look at some different ways to be able to siphon gas, low tech, easy to do. We've got a number of different options, and it may be something that you wanna set up for your water source or to transfer gasoline. Now we can just demonstrate sucking the tube, and that's what a lot of people have learned to do. We've got it in the upper bucket, we have it lower, and then I just take it, just like that, and that's where the gas gets in your mouth. If you catch it right, you can do it, but it's a little bit too dangerous and you don't want to ingest any gas, and the fumes are bad. But water, it's not a big deal. Now Grant's gonna do the classic way that a lot of people siphon gas, but he's gonna demonstrate how to do it without getting gas, or in this case, water in your mouth.
Oh yeah.
That's good. Now guys, first off is you want to make sure that whatever tubing you use is dedicated to the liquid that you're putting through it. Here we have the water. You don't want to have this for gas as well. You don't want to mix the water in the gas. But also you need to have whatever you're siphoning out of, it needs to be at a higher elevation than what you're going to go down to. So we're going down to this, and we're just using this clear tubing. So just taking this tubing, we're going to go ahead and put it into the liquid, whatever it is, but here we have water, and we're going to let that tube really just kind of fill up. Now when you're even putting this in a gas tank, you can just slip it in, and you want to get it in about as far as you can. And then you're going to hold the end just like this, and then we're going to bring this out. Now you'll notice there's water already in the tube. So once we get it down, you can see it's already starting to fall. Then we're just going to release the water, and here it starts flowing. And this will continue to flow as long as you hold it. Now if you want to stop it, then I can just put my thumb over it and lift it up, and now it'll stop the pressure. Now one thing is pretty common, in fact we found some of these at Walmart, is just a pump, a squeeze pump. And this one actually has a little shutoff valve, which is kind of cool. And you've got your surgical tubing. And so just doing the pumping action is going to be able to draw the water. Again, you can find these in a lot of places. But the question is, are you going to have this? And really that's part of the purpose of this video, is there are some things that you can purchase now to have yourself ready. Now again, you want your liquid up high that you're going to pull from. And with the squeeze tube, this one does have a shutoff valve, but you can actually put your thumb over the end of it, which they make those type as well. You want to make sure this is closed. And so we're going to take it and go ahead and just close that up, and we can see with the little joint. And then we're just going to put it into the bucket, and now I'm going to start squeezing. And you can see the water running all the way through it. And this is just filling up the tube. You're creating a vacuum actually in the hose. So it's just drawing the water. And then once you get it, you can open it up, and now it'll just start drawing the water. So you can see this water is just coming out. It's filled up the tube and it's going, but you just want to make sure you put the pressure either with the shutoff valve, or you can put your finger over it, and then when you're squeezing it, it just makes a vacuum. Now we did pick these up at Walmart, and these are pumps. They're different types, multi-use pump. This is more of that squeeze bottle. And then here, this is the traditional kerosene type pump, but all of these will work with water or with gas. But the main thing is, guys, is if you're using it for water or for gas, make sure that it is dedicated to that. Now, if you're going to store your generator, it needs to be empty. One thing that I typically do is when it gets low, I just let it run out. If it gets, too low to be able to pump out. There's a little bit of gas in here, and we're going to try to pump it with a couple of different pumps. Now, all the ways we use to do water, you can also do it with gas. But with it this low, it's going to be very difficult with just tubing. So we're going to check this out. Now, first thing is you always want to use non-ethanol gas, especially on these small engines. And I just did a video talking about gas storage, and so I'm going to have it annotated above. But using non-ethanol, it lasts twice as long, and then if you use stable in it, it can last up to 2 to 3 years. Ethanol gas, untreated, 1 to 3 months. And even treated, it won't be but maybe 6 months, and a little longer. All right, we're going to go ahead and put the gas tube in, and we need to make sure that we're contacting gas, and we are in contact. Now again, you want to make sure that this stays in contact with the level of the gas. Cover up this end, unless you have that shutoff valve, and then start pumping. And you can see the gas already starting to come. Now it's going to fill up the bulb. There it goes. And then once we have that, we can just bring it in and we can start pumping. And really you have to squeeze it quite a bit to get it started. And when it's low like that, I may have to start it again and hold that end. And that'll just fill up this tube. Because really what you're trying to do is get that inertia, that pressure on it. Now at this point, even without me holding it, gas is coming through. But this makes it just a lot faster. The pump is probably going to be one of the best ways to be able to run this gas. But if you need to improvise, then you can go the other way. Now, this is a slow way to do it, but definitely it keeps you from getting gas in your mouth. And again, this is a low tank, so we just want to make sure it's dry. And while I could just run the gas out, this is going to preserve some gasoline, because I'm going to tell you guys, in a grid down situation, gasoline is going to be priceless. And it's going to be finite. Now this is the one that's kind of the kerosene pump, and you can see it's a little bit different, but it has a vacuum valve right here, a little valve that'll hold it and let you get that pressure. And it also has a straight tube, so we can go straight in. The one problem with these little tubes with the pumps is the tubes kind of go around and sometimes they can come back up. This goes straight in. And we're starting to get low, so we're going to lift the generator up just a little bit to keep all the gas on one end. And then right here at the top, you have your little relief valve. So once you build the pressure, you open that up. So again, make sure your gas can or whatever container you're using is lower. So we're going to do this and start pumping it. You can see the gas coming into the pump. Now that comes out really well. In fact, I like this a lot better than that original one. It's important to have the little top valve closed, and that's what brings the suction, and then it just starts pouring out. You see the gas coming through. It's coming up through the tube. It's a lot faster. Here you can see the can being filled. This is definitely a lot faster. I like this. Now next we're going to look at the pump, the standard pump. One thing that's cool about this is you can actually use this to pump air. You can actually fill up a small low pressure basketball, things like that. Up top is where the gas comes in, and then down below is where the gas comes out. And then you got this pumping action. So first we're going to put it into the tank. Again, we have it elevated. And again, you need that container low. And so we're going to go ahead and put our tube in. Now that brings a lot of suction, but it's the same thing if you're filling up a bicycle tire. That has a lot of pressure to it. But man, it's pumping it out really quickly. But I think you need 3 hands. Well, I like this pump in a sense. It takes 3 hands. You got to have an extra person here helping out, because you got to hold it in, you got to pump it. This takes a little bit of pressure. Maybe we could do it to the side. But this will come out if you're not careful, so I'm having to put my knee on it. This will work, but I think I like that kerosene style pump better. And we're getting low on the tank. But definitely an option. And this is more versatile because you can pump things up. But overall, I think I like that kerosene one the best. The one thing we've also found about the flexible tubing is it doesn't stay straight. And so when it gets low, you got to see if you can hold it and it wants to curve. All right, we're as low as we can go. And of course we could run the rest of this out if we wanted to, but we want to keep that generator again dry. Get that tank dry, it gets the carburetor dry. Guys, I'm telling you, this kerosene style is definitely by far superior. I love the straight tube. We can get down in there a lot better. If you have a really large gas tank or you have a car, you're not going to be able to necessarily use that because it won't go down. But this, to me, for these small engines is top notch. Now right here is actually your drain for your gas. And you can see it coming down. It's got the fuel filter. This is a lot of trouble to pull all this off to drain that gas can. But some are easier than others. And to be honest, if you can get right to it, it's going to be easier just to let it drain out. But if not, the siphon works really well. And to be honest, our zero-turn mower, you can't even get to it. So that's really the only option. So guys, the big thing is to let it run out. You may get down to a little bit. You can't siphon it all out necessarily. And so it's going to get that tank dry, but more importantly, it's going to get your carburetor dry. If you keep gas in your carburetor, it's just out there. I mean, it's getting the elements, and so you want to make sure that you keep this running and maintained. Again, do not use ethanol gas in your generators. It will tear them up. It's going to corrode them, and with that alcohol in them, it's not good for it. So you want to make sure that you have that non-ethanol gas. It's going to last twice as long. It's going to help your engine run better. But again, you get down to that siphoning and you can't siphon it, let it run dry. Now guys, the siphons you use for your gas, go ahead and rinse them out with the water. So you do it just like you were going to do it and siphon. And it just keeps them clean, let them dry out good. Of course, the water will evaporate and that gas won't corrode your pumps when you need them. And that includes just the standard tubing. So guys, again, having an easy way to be able to transfer gas without getting it stuck in your mouth and the fumes and the vapors, or you're just trying to get water out of a large container and you want to put it in a smaller container, and siphoning is much better than trying to dip, and you may not even have enough room to do that. So having a way to be able to do that, and guys, these surgical tubings or this tubing is easy to find at a lot of hardware stores. And then, of course, there's a lot of different pump options, and then, there's a lot of different things. And so being able to have a few tools on hand to make it easier, because again, you don't want to have your mouth full of gas if you're sucking that tube. Guys, when it comes to fire, it is essential to survival, and having a good fire kit and knowing how to use it is vital for survival situations. And Exotac makes the best fire starters on the market. Made in the USA, down in Winder, Georgia. Using really high-grade aluminum, they machine some really beautiful handles, a lot of different features, replaceable ferro rods, and a number of other different fire starting tools. You get 20% off using Suits20 with the link down below in the description. And a big thank you to Exotac for sponsoring today's video. All right, Grant's going to demonstrate with gasoline. Just be careful when you're using gas because you don't want to get it in your mouth.
Oh, shoot.
Grant, what are you doing, man?
This is good.
Apple juice. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. And so this gives you an option to be able to, makes me want to go to the bathroom. And we're going to show you some different methods. That just sounded very choppy, very choppy, very choppy. That ain't working. Get it out and stop it before. Grant's going to use the suck. Okay, hold on. I'm not going to say suck the tube. Now we picked these up at Walmart. They were right in the, where were they? Ah, shoot. Now one really cool way, of course, is just a what is this? A squeeze? Siphon pump. What is this? It looks weird.